Under Republican leadership, America is booming. America is thriving. America is winning because we are finally putting America first. We are putting America first. And we have the best economy in the history of our country, the best. But if Democrats take control, they will try to plunge our country into gridlock, poverty, and chaos, and that's what's going to happen.
That's President Trump speaking over the weekend in Kansas. And joining us now, senior political reporter for the Center for Public Integrity, Dave Leventhal. The Center for Public Integrity today launches a 6-part series titled Abandoned in America, which looks into communities left out of President Trump's touted economic revival. Also with us, Fortune magazine senior editor-at-large, Lee Gallagher. Good morning to you both. Dave, let me start with you on this series that people can read in the Texas Tribune online. What was the idea as you set out? Because we heard the president's case here. Historic lows on unemployment, 3.7%, the lowest in half a century, the Dow going through the roof since he got into office. What did you find as you investigated further?
Well, you played the clip. Donald Trump likes to present himself as being the savior for the U.S. economy. And make no mistake about it, there are plenty of places all across the country that are doing just fine right now. But what we wanted to do is go to cities that were on the 180 of that, places that are struggling, places that feel that they've been left behind, that while other places may be benefiting to such a great degree from this economic boom, they're failing right now. And they're failing on key issues like housing, education, infrastructure that are critical issues in this midterm election. And the people, they don't really care if Donald Trump or anyone else is in the White House. They just want Washington to work for them, and they feel like Washington has done nothing but fail them.
Dave, was there a difference between when you set out to do this project, when you identified these communities, and once you actually got on the ground? Because we know that wages are stagnant. We know that there is sort of a tale of two economies happening. But once you actually got on the ground, was it a lot worse than you imagined?
In some cases, we identified these places, which, mind you, are representative of plenty of cities all across the country, not just the ones we focused on. And we used all different types of data measures to try to identify them. When we got on the ground, what we found was a profound sense of hopelessness, oftentimes from people, but still hoping, despite that hopelessness, that things would get better for them. I think one particular story that we tell, it's coming out tomorrow, is about Lumberton, North Carolina. Of course, that's been in the news very recently because of Hurricane Florence, but there's almost this hurricane that people forgot about. It happened 2 years ago, Hurricane Matthew. And so many of the folks that we talked to for this piece said, man, 2 years ago, things were bad, and they never got better, and now they're even worse. And what's the government going to do for us? It's that depth of despair that they have to say, I'm still couch surfing 2 years after the fact. What is going to help me? I'm poor. We're a poor county. What are you going to do for us, Washington? And the answer hasn't been forthcoming necessarily in all cases.
Dave, this is a great series. It's a valuable series. It's also a series that could have been written and was written 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. So we live in a country where, at least in my experience, I don't know anybody who would like to be born poor in America. And it's always almost the same trilogy of items that keep them locked into poverty. It's the lack of access to education, good education, health care, and the big and most important word in America, J-O-B, jobs. So what do you hope will happen from this series? Or is it just another sort of take a look at what's still happening here in America?
You're absolutely correct that this is a series that has a sort of sad timelessness to it and could be written at any point in time during a year or in the past, and sadly in the future too. But in part, we're publishing this because we're on the eve of a critical midterm election, as we all know, and the issues that we write about in this series are critical issues in this midterm election. People have an opportunity to decide for themselves the direction of this country. Is Congress going to be dominated by Republicans? Is the House going to go to the Democrats? We don't know yet, but that choice is going to be made soon. And all these places that we profile also, too, said that they felt like the political disconnect that exists between them and Washington is something that hurts them. So we want to shine a light on these places to effectively show the country, and also, too, the politicians that either represent these places or may represent these places, that there are cities out there, there are communities out there that have deep, deep needs.
Hey, Lee, I have a question for you. What's going on in that you've got these grand statistics, 3.7% unemployment, the economy is booming, Wall Street is growing. Yes, you do have these pockets out there where there has to be some catch up. Why aren't Republicans actually telling that story? What is it that's preventing them from getting into that narrative as opposed to just playing the sort of the Donald Trump, bright shining object of the day game, when there is a consistent narrative about the economy that they could be running on this fall?
Well, I mean, I think that, everyone is running on the narrative that everything is doing great. The bright, shiny object is this wonderful economy that the president is taking credit for, even though he inherited much of it from President Obama. The real question is, why aren't we focusing on these communities and this other half? I mean, never before has the economy been so divided in this way, because the statistics, as you say, are quite stunning. Things are going great if you are invested in the stock market, if you are, a CEO of a corporation. But there are many, many people who are not participating at all in this. And in fact, some are suggesting that we need new statistics to show that. We don't need to just focus anymore on GDP and on how the stock market is doing. So I think that things like this are really important. You are starting to see some attention to be paid to some of these communities from people like Steve Case, who has an initiative called The Rise of the Rest. Let's create innovation in places far away from Silicon Valley. It's possible. You're seeing in places like Kentucky, companies, teaching people how to code, and they can do it from there, so they don't have to leave their communities. So, but there's no question that this is a lost narrative. You're right.
Thank you very much. The series from Center of Public Integrity, Abandoned in America, is out today. And Lee, you'll be back with us next hour.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.